Good morning, YouTube. I'm about to say good afternoon. I got me myself. Good morning, YouTube. This is me, Arnold George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bobby Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Folks, today we have the biggest show, that is going on, and that is the Tim Gardner Tampa Bay Pro. And you know, Tampa Bay is one of the biggest shows for women's bodybuilding. And Tim Gardner is the only few promoters that still give women's bodybuilding a stage. I mean, shout out to Tim Gardner, big fan of this guy. So anyway, this show is already happened today. They're doing the Masters first. And then you're going to have the women's divisions tomorrow, and then for the men's divisions on Saturday. The Masters division is very popular. It's a growing, division because, it's an opportunity for competitors who are much older to get to show out. I mean, what respect these athletes of mature age who still have a passion for bodybuilding. And there's a question, ladies, who I recognize and some who I follow, who are competing today. So, give a shout out to them. Like I said, I know I usually do these videos early, but usually I want to make sure I get all the names on the list and I don't miss anybody. But, it's just how these things are sometimes. So anyway, we have a very stacked list this year for the Tampa. Tampa usually has a good amount of numbers, but I think this is a little more than last year. I think we have at least about 15, 16 competitors for this show. I was talking to someone, ladies, because big problem was the someone wasn't sure this show is going to have many competitors, or the cost of traveling. Going to a show. I mean, it costs a lot. And then without the point system, where you have to win a show to qualify, I think someone feel like they want to do a show which give them the better opportunity. But Tampa is back in the day it was a pretty big show, especially as I said again. It's one of the few shows, even one time when women's bodybuilding get pushed out, that still allow women's bodybuilding to compete. So we have a stacked list. Also, we have women's 40, over 50, and also over 55. And there's some ladies who are familiar, I've seen before in the past, and some ladies I believe this is going to be their debut this year. Here's Michaela Aycox. Michaela is from Tampa. Actually, not Tampa, she's from Florida, actually. And, Tampa's a little close for her. Where she's from. As you know, she took second to Mela Ash at Chicago. There's a lot of talk that she was going to win the Atlanta show. I mean, not Chicago, Atlanta, sorry. But she didn't win Atlanta. She took second to Mela. So this is a show I think she feels like she has opportunity to get her Olympic qualification. She's been in Olympia for quite a few times during her career, and the last 3 times a women's bodybuilder. We have here Nikki Shark trend. Now, Nikki, we have not seen her since 2021. As you know, I would call her one of the usual suspects. She's been a women's strength ambassador for many years. She's been to the Rise of Phoenix. She last competed in the Rise of Phoenix in 2021. As you know, the ambassador program is gone. And from I heard that Nikki went back to Canada. She has done pretty good in the past. She has qualified by points or won the show to get to Olympia. So this is an opportunity that she has to really come in best condition, especially if you got Michaela and a couple of others that look like they could be contenders. We have here a lady who we have not seen in a long time. That is one Mrs. Patty Corbett. And she just had a birthday a while back, and you can't believe this lady is in her 60s. And she hadn't competed since, I believe, 2018. She competed the same show with Nikki, and that was the Hawaiian Pro. It's been a long time, so we'll see how she looks and what she's going to present. Next up, we have a lady who did an interview a while back, the lovely Miss Michelle, the mighty SheHulk, Durnan. Now, Miss Durnan turned pro in 2021. No, actually 2020, sorry, the USA's. This is going to be her pro debut. It's been 3 years since she last competed. And, she looks pretty impressive from last time I talked to her. And I've been seeing stuff on social media. She looks pretty good. And also, I think she's competing in women's over 40, just like I believe Miss Corbett's competing women over 40, over 50, and over 55. Next up, we have Julia Furry. Now, Julia made her pro debut at the show in Tampa back in 2021. Now, she competed at the Atlanta show. That was the last show she competed in, and also competed at Puerto Rico. I thought she might do either the Romanian Muscle Fest or Europa, but she did those shows last year. So this is an opportunity where this is probably the first show for her this year. And I think if she comes in good conditioning, she's one of those people that might take this title. And if she does, she still has the Europa show coming up in next month. You have a lady who I'm a big fan of hers. She did pretty good for her pro debut. This is a lovely Miss Sanika Given. And Sanika, she turned pro back in 2022. right here in Florida when she turned pro at the Nationals. And I think that was that Nationals was in was it it was I think it was in Orlando. Yeah, the Nationals in Orlando last year. Now she's moved to Texas, and she done pretty good this year as a pro, taking second, actually third Atlanta, and then winning women's over 40 at the at Atlanta. But she's very impressive. If she brings in better conditioning, she's a top 5 contender. Like I said, it's still a stacked lineup. Here we have one is Chris Coy. Now, Chris is originally from Spain. She lives in the States. She was competing for a good bit as a physique competitor, but the last 2 or 3 years she's been competing as women's bodybuilding. Also, along with Sanika, she's doing women's over 40. And she's a impressive lady. Hadn't been to her in some of her shows, but I think this might be a good show for her because she lives in Florida and it's the backyard. Don't have to go all the way to the other side of town. Anyway, we have here is Teresa Basic. Now, Teresa hadn't competed since the Toronto Pro. And, she didn't do as well as people thought she would have. She lost to Julia Wetzel. We had not seen her compete since Toronto. And I thought she might do Chicago or maybe even Atlanta. But, I think she really was working on some things, trying to come in conditioning. There's the best that she might win this show, all depending on how she comes in conditioning. If she comes in like she was at Indy last year, and she might possibly win this show. As you know, like Michaela, she has a great physique, but I think people saying that Teresa's a physique that me judges prefer. She has great back. Her back has won her Chicago back in 2020 when she was up against Rashada Boswell. Here we have a debuting IFB Pro, and this one Miss Taylor Iraqi. Taylor is from Iraqi. I think Iraqi. I want to get her name right. Taylor is from Florida. So this is good for her competing in her backyard. She's doing what Hunter Henson did a few years ago. Remember Hunter, she earned her pro card at the USA's. And then she made her pro debut at Tampa 2 years ago. And she took second to Mona Persile. Also, I think she's going to be competing at the Rising Phoenix because, as she won people saying, oh, she didn't win. She was the only one there. A win's a win. Doesn't matter if she was the only one there. She was there and she won. And, that's all that matters to her. So, she's qualified for the Rising Phoenix this year because she's the Miss International champion, and she's making her pro debut. So I think she want to test the waters out. And I think that's pretty good. And what happened with Hunter, she made a pro debut at this show. She took second to Mona. So she has a good future. And also, you got to remember, she was a wellness competitor and switched up to women's bodybuilding. That's a big leap from, wellness to women's bodybuilding. She has competed as a bodybuilding back in the pros, as an amateur, excuse me. We have here one is Ladonna Day. Now, Ladonna is competing in Women's Open. And she competed in Atlanta, and she took 5th. And this is the debate was, Ladonna, I don't know. If she brings the same conditioning to Tampa, if she gets anything higher than 10th place, I like Ladonna Day, but she just doesn't have that. She never really comes to me. She never really comes in as that pop green look. She always comes kind of smooth. And to me, she shouldn't even been 5th at Atlanta, maybe 7th. I believe Tamara McCall was in better condition compared to her, but I don't know. I'm not a judge. I'm a fan. Here we have one Miss Christina Porter. Now, this is going to be her debut in bodybuilding. She's been competing as a pro and physique for a good while, but she hadn't competed for, I think, in the last couple of years, and now she's switching over from physique to women's bodybuilding. She's also competing in women's over 40. Wish her best of luck for this show. Here we have one Miss Keenan Square. Now, Miss Square competed at Chicago. I believe she also competed at I think she did Chicago and Atlanta too. No, I think she did Chicago. So this is gonna be her second show as a pro. So she won in women's over 40, and also she's competing in women's over 40 at this show. And I believe she also wins women at over 50 too. I think I'm trying to remember, but she looks pretty impressive. But wish her best of luck to Miss Swirly. We have here one Miss Maria Monica Vega. As you know, she is originally from Mexico, and she's going to be one of 3 female bodybuilders from the country of Mexico. And she's very impressive. She was competing in women's over 50 at Chicago. Also, she's made a switch. She was physique, but she switched to women's bodybuilding. And I remember she was competing at Savannah. I was there last year when I saw her at Savannah. So we wish her best of luck. Next up we have is another lovely senorita, one Miss Gabby Pina Vega. And I interviewed her. We was in good contact for a good while. She's an impressive lady. As I remember, she was coming here to the States. I believe she moved to the States. I remember she said she wanted to come here because there's more opportunities, especially for women's bodybuilding, more than Mexico. And she's, like I said, she's one of the 3 ladies from the country of Mexico. But she is doing pretty good for herself, and I'm a big fan of hers. I gave her a shout out. I wish her good best of luck, and she really appreciate that. So, and next up we have here one Miss Andrea J Wellington, and this would be her pro debut. She is also competing in women's over 40, women's over 50, and women's over 55. First time I saw her, she competed at the Rising Phoenix. Rising Phoenix also has amateur show where she wins in women's bodybuilding. I think she was the only woman to win in women's bodybuilding because I was thinking it was many other competitors. And she got a pro card at the Masters USA. So this is going to be her pro debut. So wish her best of luck. And last but not least is the lovely, senorita senorita Evangelina Guzman. And I did an interview with her a while back. Great lady, smart lady. She loves bodybuilding, has a passion for it. And also, she's also going to be competing at the Masters Olympia coming up this month. I like Senorita, Guzman. I think she's a great lady. She's just competing women's over 55. She's 61 years old, guys. 61. You wouldn't think it. Wow. And she's the mother of 2 kids. She's a great physique. I wish her best of luck. I hope she does well. I even sent a good luck to her, and she was happy. She appreciated that. Now, we have here is the list for women's physique. And you know what? Usually, I might have to do 2 videos because, usually the physique division will have so many competitors. But as you know, it's again like this. With physique, the point systems is gone because they won't have a master's program because they're not part of women's strength. The point systems are gone. So the number of competitors has dropped a bit. They still have more shows of women's bodybuilding and there are more opportunities compared to women's bodybuilding. They have at least maybe 6 or 7 more Olympic qualifications, compared to women's bodybuilding. But, there's some ladies on this list that I recognize are going to possibly, fight for this title. Now, we have here ladies, and like I said, we have women's 40s over 40 and also women's over 50 and women's over 55. Now, this is Lisa Arnold, and I believe this is going to be her debut. She's competing women's over 42. I don't know much about her, so like I said, this is going to be her first show. Next up, we have one Miss, if I get her name right, Maria Berlansky, I think it is. I want to make sure I got it right because, I don't want to chop it up, and she's from the Czech Republic. She has done, this is going to be her 3rd show, her 2nd show in the U.S. She competed at the Portugal Pro almost a couple of months ago, and she competed at the Chicago Pro just about a couple of weeks ago. And this is going to be a 3rd show and a 2nd show in the U.S., so let's wish her best of luck. Next up, we have the current champ, the woman who won the title last year, and that is one Miss Jeannie Feldman. Now, Jeannie Feldman has been a multiple-time Olympic competitor, impressive lady, great physique. I mean, there's a possibility she could probably win this title. But like I said again, there's still somebody out here who could probably, be a threat. She's from Florida, so it's, she's competing this show for about every year if she's been a pro. Right here, we got a lady who I did an interview with, later really cool with, one Miss Daphne Holmes. Now, you remember her as Daphne Carter, but she got married a while back. Congratulations, Daphne and her husband. As you know, Daphne last year, she switched from physique to wellness. She can do as good in wellness. I mean, she has a great physique, but she can do as good as she wants. She competed at the Rising Phoenix in wellness, and then now she's back in women's physique. And I've seen some pictures of her. She looks pretty good. Her video stuff, she looks very impressive. She's also competing in women's over 40. And also she was trained by Jeannie Feldman. So I'll give a shout out to Daphne. I mean, she's a great lady. She's a mom and a wife. Right here we have another lady who I've done an interview with. Really cool. Been talking about. Hope we do an interview sometime soon. This is the lovely Mrs. Melanie Hoyes. Melanie is one of the few women who's been competing in this sport for years, and she was, I would say, she goes back to the '90s. There's quite a few ladies on this list who are, competing in the '90s. She was, wanted to compete at the Masters Olympia, but she didn't get invited. But she is doing women's over 40, women's over 50, and women's over 55. So she's staying active. Many ladies who I've seen on this list also are not just, she's one of the few just doing I would say doing open at all three other classes. So I'm a big fan of Melanie. Right here we have one Miss Isabel Jackson. Now she competed at the Atlanta show, and she competed for a while. She's a firefighter. It's impressive. She's originally from Great Britain. She lives in the States. She's a mother. She's a passionate sport. I mean, she's a impressive physique. And I believe she's just doing women's open. I'm not surprised she's not doing the other four class, but some competitors say they don't want to do that just yet. They still feel like they still have opportunities in open. But I wish her best of luck here. Next up, we have here's a lady who I get interviewed a while back. Great lady. I'm a fan of hers. That's the lovely Mrs. Marika Jones. Now, Marika is a great lady. This is going to be her umpteenth show since turning pro. I mean, she already done, this is, like I said, 4 other shows. She did Chicago. She did Atlanta, which took second. She did the Ultima Classic. And also she did St. Louis. She was really busy. She's been really busy. She said she's going to keep on going as long as she can go. And there's a good chance that, she'll do well this show. She took second at Atlanta. She did too well at Chicago, but she bringing conditions she did like she did at Atlanta and some of the other shows, she might be a top 5 contender. I like Marika. I think she's a great lady. Right here we have one Miss Maya quickly. I want to Maya. I won't get the name wrong, but we'll go Miss Maya. Miss Maya. This is going to be her, I think, her second year as a pro. She hasn't competed for not too long as a pro. I don't know much about her, but like I said, I wish her best of luck. Next up, a lady who I interviewed, and, still in contact with a bit. One Miss Kristen Lay. Kristen is going to be her 3rd show this year. And she was from Australia, but she moved to the States. She lives in Florida. So it's good. She's right here in her new hometown, in her new home state, in her backyard. She did New York first this year. And then she did, Chicago not that long ago. No, Atlanta. She did Atlanta. I think she did New York. And I think she did in just Tampa. So it's going to be her 3rd show. Kristen, I'm a big fan of Kristen. I think she's a great physique. Her condition was a little off compared to this show in Chicago, but if she can come in the best condition, she is a top 5 competitor. Right here we have a lady. She's been competing for a good while. This is one Miss Michaela Lindsay. She's from Texas. She's from the same town for a lady who I've become really friendly with. That's the lovely Miss Shea Machada. I think this is going to be her first show for this year, and she looks pretty impressive. Right here we have one Miss Virginia Macon. She is from Texas too, but she's also a good friend lady I mentioned, the lovely Miss Shea Machada. She's also a coach, trainer, a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. So this could be her first show for this year. We hadn't seen her compete since, I think, the St. Louis back in 2022. So she looks very impressive from the videos I've seen. She actually put on some size. I think she has a good future in bodybuilding. Next up, we have a lady who I become very friendly with. I'm a big fan of this lady. We have a great conversation. This is a lovely Mrs. Robin Mays. Now, Robin is competing at the Master Show coming up this month. She's also doing women's over 50. Like I said, I'm a fan of Miss Mays. I hope her best of luck at this show and also best of luck in Romania. Here we have one Miss Sydney Reyes. Now, Miss Reyes is a nurse. As you know, remember my interview with Kim Watson? This is a lady that the guys, the convicts thought that was the bodybuilding nurse. That's her. That's the one they thought they confused with Kim. She's competed in show quite a few times. She's a coach and trainer. She lives in Florida. She's this is gonna be her first show for this year. We might see her do maybe another show down the road. Texas Pro is not too far from this time, because as I said again, women's physique has more qualification shows than women's bodybuilding. But she has a crazy physique, and we might do an interview with her. Right here, we have the lady who looks like there might be the battle between her and Jeannie Feldman for this title, and that is one Miss Ivy Rain. Now, Ivy, she usually be busy. She usually does like 2 or 3 shows in a year, and she is like Jeannie. She's a multiple-time Olympic competitor. She's been a top 5 competitor before. This is like I said, the title is gonna be between her and Jeannie Feldman. Honestly, there's a possibility is, she might win. If she don't, she still has the opportunity to get an Olympic qualification at the Master Show in Romania. And, Ivy got a person physique. I even did a video about her. I posted on my IG and in my story. She liked it, because I tagged her. She, and we've been talking a little bit. Maybe we'll get a chance to do an interview sometime soon. Right here, we have one Miss Heather Rigsby. I don't know much about her. I know she lives in Florida. So I think she's been competing for a good bit, but I couldn't find a picture, so I took this picture here and used it as a substitute. Actually, we have here one Miss Tanya Sablik. I want to get her name now. She's from Canada. I think she has been competing as a pro too long. I believe she might have competed at the Toronto, if I remember. But this is going to be her first show or second show for this year. Like I said, I don't get all the information. This is Diane Schneider. Now, Diane has been competing for a good while for Physique. She competed last year in Chicago. She did a couple other shows. Also, she competed at New York this year. This is going to be her second show this year. And, she's impressive physique. She's originally from Germany, but she lives here in the States. Diane has been a top competitor before. All depending on how condition comes in, she might be top 5, maybe top 10. Next up, we have one Miss Kathy Younger. I think this is going to be her debut as a pro. I believe she does some shows before. This is going to be her second year. Like I said again, as I know, I don't keep up with a lot of these ladies. I keep the ones I do know. But, she looks very impressive from this picture. I hope she does well. And hope she has a good future in bodybuilding. Next up, we have one here, Miss Rachel Muir Newman. And, she competed for a good while. This is going to be her first show for this year. She's competing in women's over 40. That means she's not competing in the open class. I would say like this. I always try to see her do. You may not win anything open class. It's good to see raise yourself up to some of these top contenders. Doesn't it? Like I said, you always want to see how you compare yourself. How you feel. But when it comes to I have with some of these ladies, they feel like they're comfortable in the divisions, and that's why she's competing in women's over 40. And next up we have here is Miss Jennifer Taylor. Now she's just competing in women's over 50. As you know, she was going to be at the Masters, but she now says she's not competing. I'm not sure if she's on the list for the show, but I'm not sure if she's competing or not. I know sometimes the competitors would drop out last minute. I've done videos where I talk about somebody and say I didn't see him there, and then say he dropped out. But we wish her best of luck, Miss Taylor. And we have here one Miss Leslie Gurr. I think I want to get her name right. She's from Canada. And she's just competing women's over 55. She's competing with 2 other competitors. And one lady who I'm about to show here is one Miss Eunice Martinez Kitchen. She is from Texas. And like I said, there's a lot of competitors here in Texas. Texas is a growing mecca for bodybuilding. We've been talking on social media back and forth, and hope to do the opportunity to have her on for an interview. Impressive lady, great history. Stuff she has told me. I learned about her. This is why I like talking to ladies like this. People like her and Melanie, people like her and Nancy Lewis, those ladies who were in I would call a silver age of bodybuilding. I can't wait to do our interview. Once we get set it up and set, she's an impressive lady, and her story really, really can inspire somebody who's interested in bodybuilding. And, and I think she says she might be doing women's over 55 in women's bodybuilding. She has a good aesthetics, I hope she does well. Now, this is, like I said, talking about a lady who was in the sport of the silver age of bodybuilding. I'm talking to a young lady who's in the sport of the modern age of bodybuilding. That is one Miss Anna Femina. And, Anna, she's from Florida. This is going to be her second show as a pro in women's fitness. I don't do too much on fitness because the fact is I might talk about somebody like Missy Trescott or Erica Deer, a couple other fitness girls, but I'm a big fan of Arnold. I think she's young. She has great opportunity. She did pretty good at Chicago, making top 5. As with fitness, there's so few shows for fitness compared to women's bodybuilding. I think she has a good future. Maybe, I don't know, if fitness starts dying out, she could probably think about going over the figure. She has a great physique. She's still young, still growing. How she gonna place is all depending on who comes to the show. If she has her routine is good, her condition is good, she might make top 5, top 3 of this show. But like I said, I want to shout her out because I'm a big fan of Anna. I think she is impressive. She's young. She has a great future, and she's trained by Autumn and Oksaka Priori. They're going to be there supporting her. I mean, she has a good support system. And, like I said again, I love talking about these young up and comers and also these legends, students in sport. So I wish the best of luck to Anna. And I hope she does well at the show. As you know, the Masters part is already started today. They're already competing. I think they probably already finished with the Masters part. They didn't do the prejudging. Did the prejudges today. Then later do the finals. And then tomorrow is the Open for the women and it open for the men on Saturday. So if you're interested, I'm going to leave the link if you want to go watch a live stream. I'm thinking about watching a live stream myself. Probably if I might either watch the finals or I might watch the prejudging. I might not do both because I think you have to pay for both the finals and the prejudging. It's live streaming. Even though it's the first of the month, I got my little money, but hey, I gotta stretch it out. Just got some work done in my car, and hey, man, I still got some more work to do in that car. Man, oh man, car. But anyway, folks, if you want to support the show, and I know if you live especially you live in Florida, if you're in Tampa Bay, swing by. I know the tickets are expensive, but if you really want to support these competitors, especially women's bodybuilding, as many bodies can be there to see these ladies and support them, that helps them out in the long run. And also, if you have a few bucks on you, it's the first of the month for some of us, it might be paid. It's the weekend, you got paid. Watch this show, support these ladies, support these men in the sport of bodybuilding. They deserve it. They need it. Because you know what? Bodybuilding is a tough sport. It's a expensive sport. It's a draining physically, emotionally sport. And, as us fans and supporters, we should be there, with what we can do. But we can't be there financially. Let's be there emotionally. And just say good luck to all the ladies there and good luck to all the competitors who are going to the Olympia after the show. Anyway, this is man all the way George Page, a.k.a. the Emperor of Female Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out.